Good day. I'm glad that out of all the options you had, you chose me. It means a lot. This is the final video in a 3-part speed paint series for all of my 2024 artfight attacks. If you haven't seen the other 2 videos, I'd love it if you could take some time to check them out. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. Now, this attack is for a user who goes by thirstyplant. He is a Twitch streamer, and usually streams art or Genshin maybe. Though if I have to be honest, I don't care much for the Hoyoverse games. In any case, the vibes of his streams are just really cozy. I'm drawing his VTuber model, which is just a frog with a plant on its head. It's very much different from all of the other attacks I've done, since, it's not a human figure, so I can't really do a pose. So I made up for it by drawing an entire scene instead. I went for an indoor plant vibe to match the coziness of their streams. I actually learned how to use blending modes for the first time to create a more convincing sunset-like lighting. Don't know if you've noticed, but all this time I've just been painting shadows in black on a low opacity layer. I definitely think the blending modes add a lot more depth, even if the piece is overall still pretty simple. This one was interesting to work on, honestly, and I enjoyed doing something a bit different for a change. So this next attack is for a user who goes by ReallyCoyKoiFish. A funny story, back in the pandemic I used to play this pretty niche MMO, and I was kind of active in the community, and at some point I decided to hold an art contest with just in-game gold as a prize, and Koifish was one of the participants. But that was years ago, honestly I doubt she remembers it. But anyway, the character I'm drawing is Nana the Street Punk. I couldn't find any lore or background, but she just seems like a fun design, having that kind of badass swordswoman vibes. I used blending modes for the shading, like I did with the last one, and honestly, I think this was one of my favorite attacks with how it turned out. I think the messy Mario Striker style, along with the cross-hatching, works really well here, and I think it produced a really strong looking image. So I'm really happy with this one. So this last attack of the video and my last attack for Artfight this year is for a user who goes by Fedora. He is a fellow Filipino TF2 fan and Telehall enjoyer. All of his characters are OCs for fighting, a Roblox game. I personally don't play it, but after checking it out, I think I might try it if I ever have the time. This character is called Razevenge. She is wearing a variation of the Barong Tagalog, which is a type of men's formal wear in the Philippines, and she also has the red bandana and pants commonly associated with the KKK. KKK in question, standing for Kataas-Taasan Kagalang-Galang na Katipunan ng Mga Anak ng Bayan, a secret organization formed during the Spanish colonization. I honestly really like how well it works together with the barong. I wouldn't have thought of the combination myself, at least. He is also supposedly 6 feet tall, but everyone knows there's no such thing as a Filipino taller than 5'7". I tried to emulate my success with the previous attack on this one, and I think it turned out pretty good, but I'm not really feeling the pose, to be honest. The background also feels kind of off, if that makes sense, but it's a minor nitpick. I could have definitely gone with a pose that better flaunts the hat, the mechanical arm, or maybe even both. that concludes all of my artfight attacks for 2024. I wanted to take some time to look back at all of the attacks here. I definitely got a lot of practice during the event. I spent nearly 33 hours on paint.net over the whole month, though the time spent actually drawing is probably around 30, accounting for like AFK and stuff. While I really did enjoy all of the attacks, that there are some that turned out better than others. Some of the lower end attacks, in my opinion, were the ones for Jelly Bun, Mishazaki, and Gifwen. The Jelly Bun attack was overall just not as polished as I would have liked, and I could have done something other than, a plain drop shadow. Although I can slightly excuse myself since it was my first attack. In the one for Mishazaki, I chickened out of doing the hands properly. I drew the lower hand as a fist instead of how it's supposed to be in the reference, and I just covered the upper hand with sleeve. I also could have done the background differently. The shade of green makes it look like a green screen, and the contrast in the gradient just isn't strong enough, so it's not as good as all of the other backgrounds. As for the one for Kifwen, I also mentioned that I drew this thinking that this was a character with ice powers. Yeah, I would have done a lot of things differently if I had realized my mistake sooner. As for the attacks that I think turned out best, I think my favorites are the attacks for Fatal Bagel and definitely Koifish. For Bagel's attack, I just love how well the pose and the expression works together. It's simple but effective. Koifish's attack is kind of the opposite, with a more active pose and a messier style, and the way the cross-hatching works together with the blended shadows just releases so much dopamine in my brain for some reason. Next, I also want to show off the attacks I've received this artfight. I've gotten 2 defenses, and I really appreciate them since I don't get art from others often. Both of them are of my persona. The first one is a Revenge from Jelly Bun. I really love how cute he looks, bouncing up and down in an idle animation like that. The second one is a Revenge from Kifwen. I love the detail in the shading and all the hats, of course. I believe that concludes my Artfight 2024 experience. I said it 100 times by now, but I had a lot of fun, and I'd definitely love to keep participating in the future fights. I plan to post mainly more speed paints and other art-related content, though I'm open to different things as well. If you want to see more, consider subscribing. It would mean a lot to me. I've talked enough, so thanks for watching.